We have a fairly short agenda today. All of these items we can deal with as a consent vote, so I'll read through these, and if you have any questions, we can pull any of them off to talk about them. Otherwise, we can vote on them at once. RS 2012-296, resolution by Gilmore, McGuire, and Hunt, authorizing the Director of Public Property to exercise an option to purchase real property for the use and benefit of the Metropolitan Department of Water and Sewer Services. That was administratively approved by the Commission on May the 25th. RS 2012-297, resolution by Claiborne and McGuire, accepting a Tennessee Historical Commission certified local government grant from the Tennessee Historical Commission to provide continuing education for staff and commissioners. And there was no action required by the Planning Commission, so that's totally our vote. RS 2012-298, a resolution by Claiborne and McGuire, accepting certain incomplete infrastructure and property interests located in enclave at Twin Hills subdivision for completion and maintenance in the interest of public health and safety. And there was no action required by the Planning Commission. BL 2012-99, ordinance sponsored by Moore to amend the zoning ordinance by amending SP district for the previously approved H&M Motors specific plan district located at 1525 4th Avenue South to permit auto sales new, auto sales used, auto service, and all uses permitted by MUL A zoning, and to remove the condition requiring by BL 2006-1229 for a sidewalk along Mallory Street. And we do have an amendment to that particular bill. I'm going to ask the Planning Department, I'm going to ask if you will read the amendment to 2012-99.
Basically, what the amendment does for 2012-99 is the owner has agreed in place of building the sidewalk that was originally part of that SP plan, he has agreed to pay an in lieu contribution of $4,250 towards the construction of a sidewalk in another location within that same pedestrian benefit zone. So Public Works would use those funds to build a sidewalk within that area. So that's what he has agreed to.
Okay. Council Lady Allen?
Is now the time to ask this question, or should I?
Go ahead and ask it.
Okay, just kind of an accounting question. Where does the record show up that money has gone into the sidewalk fund?
Yeah, that's a question you'd have to ask Public Works on how they do the accounting on that.
I'll do that later then. Thank you.
Councilman Tenpenny?
Yeah, I'd just like to know, where's this sidewalk going?
The required sidewalk was on the side street of this property on Mallory Street, and because there was not enough space there, the applicant or the owner of the property put a fence up on a part of that property where the sidewalk was to go, so there's no longer enough room to build the sidewalk. That we've been working with them trying to figure out a solution to this for 2 or 3 years now, and they just haven't been able to come up with a solution on how to actually construct the sidewalk. So what he did was he offered to pay the contribution towards the sidewalk fund so that Public Works would be able to use that money to build a sidewalk somewhere in that vicinity.
Okay, I just have one problem with that. As we go through these SPs on Nolensville Road, say somebody else has a fence, and what are they just going to fund to the sidewalk fund too?
Well, this is similar to what another person on Nolensville Road did several years ago, is that they had a same situation where a sidewalk was required, and they made a $10,000 contribution. I think it was $9,000 or $10,000 contribution towards the sidewalk. And so what was done in this case was we figured out how much per linear foot that other auto use on Nolensville Pike paid into per linear foot, and that same amount was used to establish the $4,250 for this one.
All right, I know of one over on Nolensville Road right now, there's a sidewalk to nowhere that they did pay $10,000 for. They did it through the SP and everything. They've been trying to get their $10,000 back. My only problem is, when we do this SP and we ask these organizations, these private companies to adhere to these SP zonings, I think they should. I know the property you're talking about, they put the fence up. Why can't they just take the fence down and that would be a good place for a sidewalk?
We tried to work with them to get them to do that, and that wasn't something that they were able to do.
I just see a big opening with this SP zoning as companies come and want to rezone and want to do an SP that, hey, well, we won't follow this part of the SP, we'll do this, and this zoning has gotten ridiculous. It really has. And I think there's some way, in some other way, that we should be able to do this, that it would help businesses and not hinder them. I mean, we've hindered one on Nolensville Road that I know of already. We've hindered one for 3 years over here that would not abide to the SP zoning rule, and we finally get them. Now they want to give money to a sidewalk fund. To the sidewalks fund. I just there's a lot of inaccuracies going on there, man, and it's just not.
This was considered a major change to the SP. That's why it's back before the council. It wasn't considered something minor that could be done. So that's how we looked at it also, that it was not a small change to what was originally agreed upon. And so that's why it's back before the council.
Well, okay, thank you.
Councilman Bedney?
Was the fence that you were wondering about removing, was that a fence that had been approved by them getting a building permit?
There was a requirement of the SP that they build a certain type of fence separating the sidewalk from the property where they would park the used cars for sale. And so in trying to accomplish what was part of the original plan, they put up the fence, but they put it too close to where the sidewalk was supposed to go, so there wasn't room for the sidewalk.
So they didn't submit any drawings?
They did, but they apparently didn't follow those.
So they built the fence on the wrong place?
They built the fence too close to the right-of-way.
Did the drawing show where the fence was supposed to be?
They did, but the original plan, because it was an existing site, it wasn't new construction. This site had an existing building on it, and so on a lot of these SPs, they try to show, I guess, as little as possible in order to lessen their costs. And it wasn't a very detailed plan. I'll say that the plan that they submitted wasn't highly specific in terms of the exact location of where that fence was going. And what they needed to do was submit the plans back to us showing, with a dimension drawing showing where the fence would be constructed, and they did not do that. They just installed the fence.
Okay, so they didn't follow the rules.
They what?
They didn't follow the rules. They built something before they had an approved drawing.
That's correct.
And we're going to reward them by letting them keep the fence up?
Well, I mean, that's why they went through.
I'm sorry, I know this is not your department, but I'm just, I share the frustration of Councilman Tempeni about this.
It wasn't an easy, I mean, we've been working with them for several years now, and it wasn't an easy solution to try to resolve this, and that's why they're back here, and that's why they've agreed to pay this in lieu fee, a contribution that would go towards sidewalks being built somewhere in that area, because they weren't willing or able to remove that fence and move everything back.
But if they build the fence on the wrong place, that is not up to code, right? I mean, we could ask them to demolish it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to go back and see exactly. I'm not sure that a survey's ever been submitted showing exactly where the fence is, whether it's in the right-of-way or on their property. That's another cost that they would have to incur to do that. I just know that there's not enough room to build the standard sidewalk between the fence and meeting the Public Works requirements, the Metro requirements for the construction of that sidewalk. Public Works has looked at it, and there's not enough room to build it to their standard with the fence located where it is. But I can't say for sure whether the fence violates the code being built in the right-of-way or on their property.
Thanks.
Councilman Stites.
Mr. Chair, can we have the applicant's attorney is here, I believe. Could we have him maybe answer some of these questions or give a little bit more insight into the situation?
Are there any objections from the committee to, all right, where's the, Sorry.
Test.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jamie Holland, I represent the applicant. And if I could, I'd like to address some of the things I vehemently disagree with by Mr. Lehman. One, when the applicant came down the pike to do this, he made application for an auto SP and retain all uses allowed by CS zoning. That's not what he got. He got a bill for an auto SP. He didn't know that. By the time he realizes that, he says, whoa, I got a problem. Well, the planning department, to err is human, they made a mistake. They didn't include that in there. One of the conditions, Councilman, was that he had to tear down a chain link fence and put up a wrought iron fence. And you know where that property is. And I bet if you owned it, you'd want to secure that property pretty quickly, as he did after he tore down the chain link fence. Then he went to Public Works. Public Works told him, you got to have 25 feet to the center line to build a sidewalk. At the time, he called Ronnie Greer, Senator Moore's predecessor. Said, hey, because this has been going on a long time. Said, hey, I've got a problem. He says, well, you can't build a sidewalk there. Public Works agreed. Public Works doesn't tell someone what they have to do or what they don't have to do. They tell you what you can do. That's a big distinction here. So in 2009, the council lady brought a bill back, passed on first reading, passed on second. She let it go. It extinguished at the conclusion of the last term. He hired me. We start this process over again. We made application to get a bill that would allow all the uses of CS zoning. If you look at that bill before you today, we're still not there, Councilman. The reason why is the sponsor, and I hate to talk about someone in their absence, but you know, that's the situation here. She didn't want auto repair, understandably. The applicant is also sensitive to the wishes and desires of the neighborhood. Didn't want a bar. So he agreed to MUL. The whole reason this whole process started along was that in 2006 or 7, when the gentleman further up the road built the sidewalk to nowhere, understandably, he's upset. I don't blame him. I'll be right there with him. But since then and now, the policy has changed at the planning department. So if you're going to do an SP and you're not expanding the footprint, not moving anything, you don't have to build a sidewalk. Well, he has built 275 feet of sidewalk all along 4th Avenue South. And because the way Mallory is, you turn in it, and then you kind of go back up the hill. He couldn't do it. And he didn't have $4,250 to do it then. He doesn't have $4,250 to do it now. And frankly, he's not for this amendment. This amendment was sprung on us today at roughly 11 o'clock. We hadn't had time to consider it. He's been going on this for 6 years. And what he does not have is a final UNO. And that's the only reason we're here. And he cannot get one. Now, one question you said was whether or not, hey, why don't he just tear that fence down?
Okay,
That's
Let's,
that's a government taking without just compensation.
let's confine your remarks to answering Councilman Stites' request to provide the background to the issue. And
Well,
leave
Mr.
it.
Chairman, I think I did that and cleared up some inaccuracies.
Thank you.
That, it's not about a sidewalk and a fence. It's a whole lot more.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and let me finish, and then if we need to pull this off to vote on it separately, then we'll do so if there's no other discussion here. Bill 2012-135, sponsor Purdue, an ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance by canceling a portion of Magnolia Station Residential Planned Unit Development District overlay on property located at Tenon Road unnumbered, and by amending a portion of the PUD located at 1900 Tenon Road to remove 1.42 acres of open space from the PUD and to delete 6 dwelling units and convert that portion of the PUD to open space. That was approved with conditions on 3/8 by the commission. And BL 2012-136, sponsor Purdue, changing from RM4 to R40 district, property located at Tenon Road unnumbered. And that was approved on 3/8 also. So is it your pleasure to take all of these as a consent agenda, or to pull 99 and vote on it separately? Councilman Tenpenny.
I make a motion that we remove 99 and vote on it separately.
Okay, those in favor of the consent agenda with the exception of BL 2012-99. Those approved, or those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, consent agenda is approved. Bill 2012-99, the ordinance that we just had the discussion over. Do I hear a motion? Okay, your mic.
Sorry. Make a motion that we defer this for one meeting.
Okay, motion to defer for one meeting. Do I have a second? Okay, motion made to defer one meeting and seconded. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Bill 2012-99 will be deferred one meeting. Are there any other items for the committee? Do I hear a motion to adjourn? We are adjourned. Thank you.